They like, how you so cool, how you so fly, how you so fresh, you ain't even gotta try. Y'all pump faking, I ain't even gotta lie. Hit 'em with the hiss, game one. when it's switched in.
We're in northern Putnam County tonight, an inter-Monon rivalry, so to speak, as you are looking live at the Cougars of North Putnam High School as we get set to bring you live coverage of doubleheader action, boys and girls, North Putnam versus South Putnam, here on the ISC Sports Network. Well, Endeavor Communications is proud to sponsor tonight's broadcast. Internet speeds up to a gig. Learn more at WeEndeavor.com. Alongside Bill Fenlon, I'm Kurt Darling. A pleasure to be with you. Bill, in particular, it's a good way to start things off here as we work through the middle of the girls' season, so to speak. Here, certainly a big rivalry here in the county of Putnam, to say the least, here between these two schools.
Yeah, Kurt, it's always there's a bunch of rivalry games in this county because there's 4 small schools in this county, so they're playing each other all the time. And every single time it's a big deal. So I'm excited to be here with you tonight.
Indeed, likewise, sir. Of course, these two teams are certainly very familiar with each other, as you might expect. They play each other in this doubleheader event. Every year you'll have the boys playing each other a little bit later on this evening. But when you're talking about these two particular schools, both of them off to a decent start, so to speak, here. North Putnam in particular, 7-2 to start the season, their best start since 2022.
Well, they're off to a great start, and they did not win this game last year. So South is off to a pretty good start themselves, and I think you're going to see two fairly evenly matched teams out here today. And as you know, we've talked about it before, I think very often it's the extra possession differential that tells the tale. And what I mean by that is the difference between turnovers and the difference between offensive rebounds. How many extra chances do you get at it can very often determine the outcome of a game like this.
Absolutely. We're underway here in the first of 2 ball games here to be contested this evening here at North Putnam High School. And so South will take the opening possession here to start things off, and this is Lila Rissler going right down the lane, averaging 8 points a contest coming into this ball game. No dice that time. North Putnam with their first possession under first-year head coach Kelly Windmiller, the 4th head coach in the last 4 years for North Putnam, and that's certainly can be challenging for student athletes as you're going through a program such as this.
Well, it's either a good thing or a bad thing, right? And Kelly's off to a great start, obviously.
Rissler going right to the basket, gets the scoring going here for the Eagles, I should say.
She took a little bump there, Kurt. Might have gotten fouled and still able to finish that one off.
North Putnam has won each of their last 3 games. Of course, their last loss was in the county tournament against South Putnam back on November 21st. Mind you, these two teams have faced each other earlier on this season. And tipped out of bounds, a heady play that time by Clara Pistelli, one of the leading scorers returning for South Putnam this season, a 3-year varsity player for the Eagles. And this is Haley Daigle, a utility player, so to speak, for North Putnam, averaging 9 points a contest. And working it inside with the size of Melanie Davis, and she gets the extra foul to go with it.
Well, they were able to get the first possession, then the second possession. Both of those possessions were the focus was to get Davis the ball one-on-one in the middle of the floor, and that time she was able to convert.
And Melanie Davies going to try and get the and one, cannot get that to go. We are knotted at 2 apiece here in the first 75 seconds of this contest. And that is Klein feeding it inside, that time to Gardner, the 5'10 senior here for the Eagles. North Putnam still trying to get into a little bit of a rhythm as they work it inside again to Davies. And that's off the mark, and another foul going to be called here on South Putnam.
I think we're able to kind of see what the focus is going to be all night long, and that is trying to get Davies isolated in the lane area.
Duvall picking up her first foul there for North Putnam, tipped out of bounds again, and it's staying here with the Eagles.
We got it to her again. It looked like she might have got fouled.
By the way, South Putnam, under 10th year head coach Brian Gardner, 129 wins in that span here for South Putnam. 3 on the way, the first of the ball game here for North Putnam that time, and it's off the mark out of the hands there of Jenna Day. Well, South certainly willing to run up court here in the early going as Klein works the right side of the lane, and she'll be picking up the foul that time and go to the line.
Well, that's a big foul. You probably want to keep Davies out of foul trouble if you can, but Klein went right at her, kind of sawed her body out a little bit, and really forced the officials to make that call.
Danae Klein, a 5'3" senior, 87% at the foul line this season, and she knocks home her first 2 foul shots.
87%, that's good, right?
I would imagine so.
Pretty good.
I'd say she's making more than missing.
It's pretty good. She ought to figure out how to get to the line. Whoops, we jinxed her.
But she goes 1 of 2 at the line that time. Still, though, a 3-point advantage here for South Putnam. Inside to Davies, spinning in on the defender. Can't quite get that one to fall. Fresh possession here for the Eagles. Klein left alone for 3, and she leaves that off the mark. Gets her own rebound off the tip that time from Pastelli. And trying to cut inside, stolen away by Daigle. And back to Davies again, who will direct some traffic. This is Mason. Back outside Daigle. And so far, good interior defense on this possession here for South, as the tie-up and the possession arrow going to favor here North Putnam. Well, you certainly see North Putnam doing a lot in the paint that time, but South Putnam adjusting on the fly here.
Well, she kind of bounced it off her foot and got her into trouble, but I'm trying to figure out what they're calling right here.
The officials are
a little bit of confusion,
conversing with each other as well as the scorers table at the moment. Yep. The head referee pointing to what appears to be the scoreboard at the time being. I don't think there's any discrepancy on what the time is going to be as we continue play. And off the front of the iron that time, that 3 from Rose Haste. And back inside now here to Davies.
South in a little bit of a zone here. Little extended 2-3.
Long possession here for the Cougars, as South has been able to at least clamp down a little bit, but Haley Daigle taking it down the right side of the lane. Both teams certainly being judicious with their shot selection here in the early going, as we now take into about halfway through quarter number 1.
Well, if you can get a layup every time, Kurt, you might as well try to get a layup. And so far, North has been able to do just that.
Down the right side this time goes Pastelli. A little too hard off the glass, and it's a turnover back to North Putnam. By the way, turnovers, one thing that has been an issue for the Eagles so far this season, Coach, 22 turnovers. They're actually averaging.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. You're not going to win that extra possession battle very often if you're going to turn it over that much. So I'm sure that's a point of emphasis for them, and we'll keep track of that as the game goes on.
There is Lily Emmerich coming into the ball game, 5.5 points per contest. Also a volleyball player. In fact, you certainly see a lot of 2 or maybe even 3 sport athletes at schools such as this.
Well, I don't know exactly what the enrollment is, but I think it's probably around 500, 400 or 500. And if you want to have all the teams, you're going to have some kids doubling up for sure.
Empty shot that time from Mackenzie Mason. Offensive rebound by Davies. Stolen away here by Klein, who takes a hard spill at the center court. But she's up and okay. So now 2 fouls apiece here for both squads. And certainly, Coach, We mention it every time, but it's still something relatively new in the realm of high school basketball, and the fact that it's now 5 fouls at the end of for every quarter, and they reset automatic 2 shots at 5 fouls.
Right. I don't know if I like it. Do you like it?
I'm indifferent to it. let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it makes a ton of difference, but
there are certainly others who say that it speeds the game up.
Right. And I like the bonus aspect of it as well. And we're kind of missing that one.
Klein at the top trying to find her opening and scoops it right to the rack. Can't get the shot to fall.
Well, both teams are really driving the ball and getting it to the rim, but just not converting at a very high rate at this point.
Kind of a wild shot thrown up there by North Putnam, taken away here by the Eagles. Klein again trying to find her opening. Outside 3 goes way off the mark that time from the hands of Drew Gardner, the 5'8" sophomore. And another empty possession here for the Eagles. It did not touch rim, so that goes down as a turnover, and that's 2 turnovers in the last 3 possessions here for South Putnam. Inside here goes Davies, flushed out this time. Daigle with the left hand. Can't finish, but Davies is there to clean it up.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure how you chart that one because the official grabbed the ball before it actually went out of bounds. But you can give him a turnover if you want.
Open to interpretation, I would say.
Yeah, he didn't let it bounce. He just caught it.
Klein off the left side, gets it to go.
Well, what we're seeing right now from North is every defender is kind of on an island. There's not any gap control at all. So the next defender is not involved in trying to shore up that drive a little bit, and as a result, you're seeing players get all the way to the basket over and over again.
So far, both teams are 0-4 from behind the arc. Although you certainly have to say this, though, as you get a look at Coach Brian Gardner there, again, 10th year as the head coach of South Putnam. But both teams, but in particular North Putnam, getting a few more second chance opportunities than South Putnam of late.
Right. They're on the glass, and they're going to need to be, both teams, because they're not really cashing in at the rim on the first attempt. So if you assume that ball's going to stay alive, you might as well go get it.
Meanwhile, Pastelli going behind the back, setting up Gardner that time, and leaves that a little strong off the back of the iron. Into the final 75 seconds here of quarter number 1. And playing tightrope with midcourt that time, nearly a turnover there. A jump ball going to be called, and this time the arrow going to favor South Putnam. Big play there by Clara Pastelli.
Pastelli's very active defender, and that time North just didn't handle her pressure very well and coughed it up for another turnover.
And they're going to say that was poked out of bounds there off of the North Putnam defender, Daigle, as Lila Rissler tried to bring that up court. Again, South Putnam off to a 5-4 start this season. Last year going at 12-11, their first winning season in their last 4. At the top here is Rissler. Goes against 2 defenders and scoops it in.
That was a great finish right there. Davies got in pretty good defensive position, and she was just able to kind of sneak it in around her outstretched arms.
Turnover here by the Cougars. Coming in stride here is Pastelli, one-on-one. Down low, puts it up, can't convert. Rebound comes to Rose Haste.
Pastelli again on the defensive end, getting her hands on it and creating another turnover.
Into the final 10. And as the final seconds tick down here, quarter number 1, 3-point lead for South Putnam. Well, this game is proudly sponsored by Endeavor Communications. Endeavor doesn't just provide ordinary internet service. Their blazing fast, high-speed, fiber-based service is a game changer. Don't settle for less. Switch to Endeavor. Go to weendeavor.com or call 1-800-922-6677. Endeavor Internet, your fiber connection, your victory. Quarter number 2 after this here on ISC.
Want lightning fast internet speeds? Choose Endeavor. Go from slow to whoa. From last to fast. And wait to great. Endeavor Communications is bringing the fastest internet speed in Indiana to your town. So you can download huge files in a flash. Stream videos at blazing speeds. And game online faster than you thought possible. Think fast and contact Endeavor Communications today at join.weendeavor.com.
Second quarter of the girls' matinee here of the South Putnam, North Putnam doubleheader here on ISC Sports Network alongside Bill Finland. I'm Kurt Darling. Bill, your thoughts on that opening quarter for both squads?
Well, both teams are driving the ball constantly and just not really able to convert around the basket with any kind of consistency. So I think whoever is going to figure out, how to get in the lane, get stopped, and really, rather than take some of these shots under pressure, maybe looking back out to the three-point line to cash in a little bit there might be in order for both teams.
4 points for Lila Rissler to lead South Putnam in that opening quarter. 4 points for Melody Davies for North Putnam. And already continue to see that defensive pressure from Clara Pastelli as she works out in the high post. Long ball over, nearly turned over by North Putnam again as Day comes away with it, and we get our first foul here of the quarter.
Now, from a defensive standpoint, Kurt, you'd like to think that both of these teams are going to make some sort of adjustments to handle the drive a little bit better than they have so far.
Haley Daigle getting harassed that time by Pastelli. The jump ball is called, and another turnover forced there by South Putnam. Well, Pastelli certainly making her presence known here on the defensive end, as we've talked about.
Yeah, that was actually Klein that time, I think. But she's taken the cue from Pastelli, and they are really dogging the basketball out front.
I saw the 1 on the jersey, but not the other number. So here is the aforementioned Klein. She sets it up down low to Rissler. Nicely done.
America's play. Isolated out, and they were looking for that back door cut all the way that time, Kurt.
6 points now for Lila Rissler as Davies tries to answer, and Rissler comes down with the rebound.
Davies is getting that ball in awfully good position. And she's just got to slow down a little bit. She's kind of rushing it. Once she gets it where she wants it, you got to realize you're the boss right there. You got to slow it down and make sure you're going to cash in.
Timeout here called by North Putnam. Well, this game is proudly sponsored by Endeavor Communications. Endeavor Communications doesn't just provide old ordinary internet service. Their blazing fast, high-speed, fiber-based service is a game changer. Don't settle for less. Switch to Endeavor for a winning play in connectivity at weendeavor.com or call 1-800-922-6677. Endeavor Internet, your fiber connection, your victory. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast here, Bill, this is South Putnam's 4th head coach, or rather North Putnam's 4th head coach in 4 years, and Kelly Windmiller originally didn't want the job, but after going through a few more candidates, the leadership at B, so to speak, here for North Putnam came back to her and said, "Hey, we want you to be the job."
They had to twist her arm a little bit.
They had to twist her arm a little bit, and now she's leading the team.
She's done a heck of a job so far. If you're going to go by the results, she's getting them. So
Davies going down the right side of the lane, can't quite finish. And the pass tipped up there defensively by Daigle and taken here by Pastelli. Klein scooping around. Block shot there by Mason. Davies goes the full length of the court. And 3 on the way. Off the mark that time from Day. And a couple empty possessions here by both squads. Turnaround jumper from the foul line does not fall in. And we have a foul away from the ball going for the rebound, and it's a turnover back here too at North Putnam. Mia Wells into the ball game here for the first time for South Putnam, a sophomore guard.
I think that ball hit the stanchion. I think that hit the apparatus up above the rim. So I don't think that's a turnover, actually. Or is it?
We're being judicious with that.
I don't want to give them more than they deserve.
That is a turnover as Davies coughs it up underneath the South Putnam basket. On the move inside, Emmerich throws it at the glass and draws the foul. And that'll be against Davies, I should say.
Again, another isolated situation. Day tried to get involved, but she was a little bit late, sneaking a hand in there. I would like to see both teams be just a little more active in the gap, so the next defender is really giving the ball a little more attention, and that's the thing that kind of stuffs the drive a little bit.
But now you see their coach, Davies, going to have to sit as she now has 2 fouls here in this first half. Lily Emmerich at the line. And she goes 1 of 2 at the line to get her first bucket of the ball game. Largest lead of the contest here for South Putnam at this juncture as it's kicked out of bounds off of the foot there of Emmerich. By the way, Lily Emmerich there, 207 career kills as a volleyball player for South Putnam.
Is that a good number?
It is a good number.
I really wouldn't know what to. I like watching volleyball, but I don't understand the statistics of it, so I'm not sure if that's.
Needless to say,
I take your word for it.
As there's a 3 that falls there for Rose Haste. The first 3 of the ball game here for either team. But no, in a volleyball sense, let's just say she scored a lot of points.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know what a kill is, Kurt. I just don't know what a good number is.
Down the left side that time goes Wells and gets her pocket picked. Daigle comes up court. Inside here to Mason. Back outside again. Long shot there from Day. Does not go. And getting the rebound down low. Cannot convert. But still another fresh possession. Day trying it again from long. Off the mark again. And another offensive rebound.
Yeah, that's 4. This will be the 4th crack at it right here.
Outside, letting it fly again is Haste, and she gets the lucky roll here inside the friendly confines of North Putnam High School.
Well, both of those threes came from inside-out passes, not off the dribble drive, but off an entry pass.
And a timeout going to be called here by Gardner. Well, 2 threes here, coach, by Rose Haste have made this from a 6-point game to an even game at 12 points apiece.
Both off assists from Mackenzie Mason, who is handling the high post duties right there.
And there you get a good look at Kelly Windmiller, who, by the way, her son plays for the boys team, who we will be seeing later on this evening. Of course, Windmiller also an elementary school teacher at Bainbridge Elementary, just down the road here within the North Putnam School District.
Well, her son's a pretty good player, right, as I recall from last year.
Basketball family, to say the least. Again, taking over for Coach Curtis Lawrence from a year ago. Again, certainly a coaching carousel, to say the least. Hopefully, the Cougars can find some consistency here with Windmiller here so far as they've started the season 7-2. Meanwhile, South has been in control of this ball game for the most part, as we're back even for the first time since the opening tip. Inside comes Gardner here for South Putnam. It's tipped up and nearly a turnover, and it is a turnover as J.C. Huffman attacks the rim and gets it to go. That's Huffman's first bucket of the ball game and the first lead of the evening here for North Putnam as it's turned over back the other way by South. It's an 8-0 run here for North Putnam. Huffman works it inside to Mason. And if my eyes deceive me, a little triangle offense, making it work this time for Huffman.
I'll tell you what, they, since Mason got in the basketball game, she has been delivering dimes as a passer. Great look, caught it, took her time, looked back out to the perimeter, looked at the bucket, and guess what? Teammate wide open right there.
And so this puts Huffman at the foul stripe, a 5'2" senior Huffman. And this extends the lead here as she can't get the and one to go, but gets the offensive rebound off of her miss. Second and even third chance opportunities here for the Cougars have really paid dividends. Mason puts it back on the floor. And wide open on the right side, and Haste makes them pay. And another timeout going to be called here by South Putnam. It's a full timeout by Coach Gardner.
Well, Mackenzie Mason, she's changed the tenor of this game with her passing. Handling the ball inside and out. That one was a hockey assist, so she got it, and then she made the pass to the person who made the pass, but just catching it in there really contracts the defense.
Well, Mason's only averaging 4.5 points per contest here, Coach, but it seems to me her designated role right now is just to keep passing.
She's not even looking to score. She's not even looking at the basket. She's just looking to draw defense to her, and she's hitting the first open teammate she finds, and it's been super effective the last 3-4 minutes for her team.
Well, especially with the shooting of Rose Haste in particular. She's now 3 out of her last 4 shots from behind the arc, all of them here in the second quarter. She now has 9 points. That's basically been the bulk of this entire run right now, which has now swelled to 13-0.
Well, you make shots, it makes a big difference. So they're actually converting from the three-point line at a higher clip than they are from the 3-foot line right around the basket.
Certainly night and day, though, between these first and second quarters. You had a lot of play at the rim and now lots of outside shooting.
Well, South Putnam's been in a little bit of an extended zone, which has opened up that middle. And since Mason got in the game, they've been sticking it in there and kicking it back out. And South just right now doesn't have an answer for that.
So we're in the final 3 minutes here of this second quarter. Rissler trying to answer with a 3 of her own, leaves that too long. And a big rebound grabbed there by Mason. Daigle attacking right inside. Back outside again to Huffman. Here is Daigle trying to add her 3 as well. Can't get that one to go, and Rissler grabs the rebound. South looking for any and all type of basket that they can get, as there's been a scoring drought for the last 3.5 minutes or so. And a foul on the shot here, as this will put Wells at the line.
Good drive attacking the closeout. Just no real reason to whack her right there. But sometimes players just can't help themselves, Kurt.
And that's now the second foul on Haste, mind you. As Wells comes up empty on that first foul shot. Cassidy Hackelman into the ball game here for North. And Wells able to put one on the board here and snap what has been a 13-0 run here for North Putnam. Huffman here being pressured by Klein. And trying to get it to Mason, goes right through her hands and out of bounds, and it's a turnover.
Just didn't catch it. She was already passing it before she caught it. She's already figuring out which dime she was going to hand out this time.
Danae Klein, again the leading scorer here for South Putnam this season, has been held in check the entirety of this second quarter as Pastelli attacks the baseline and draws another foul.
Well, she really forced the issue, Pastelli did, on that drive, and I'm not sure. There's a little bit of contact there, not a ton. And she was able to draw the foul.
So that one going to go against J.C. Huffman, and that is her first foul shot as South continuing to struggle at the foul line here. And the back half goes there for Pastelli. By the way, Pastelli's first point of the entire evening. As Mason once again working that inside. This time takes the elbow J.
You think I'm going to pass it, don't you? Nope, I'm going to shoot it in the bucket. Good for her.
But it certainly goes without saying, Coach, that Mason's presence has opened up things here for North Putnam on offense.
It's made a big difference for sure.
And a traveling violation here by South Putnam. Another untimely turnover here for the Eagles.
She's not a guard, but they're playing through her, and she is making a lot of really good choices with the basketball.
And South Putnam has taken advantage. This team down 9-6 at the end of quarter number one. Now taking a 7-point lead as Huffman can't convert on that shot. But an offensive rebound by Daigle. That comes up empty as well. And a foul under the basket. And this is going to go against North Putnam as Jenna Day will pick up her first foul. 4 now of the quarter here for the Cougars. Pastelli working on Huffman. Nice handwork there by Huffman to at least deter the shot. And the arrow going to favor North Putnam here. Another turnover for South Putnam.
J.C. Huffman, after being called for a foul 2 trips ago, she put her hands up and she kept them up there for a long time while that ball's rebounding back at her.
There's something to say about emphasis.
Yeah, she's trying to, I'm not fouling her.
Inside, nicely done there by Huffman.
Great give and go right there. Good pass. Good pass by Daigle.
6 points here by Huffman here in this quarter. And now the Eagles going to try and at least get something here to close out the half. Rissler tries to draw the foul, cannot get that one to go. Instead, it'll be a foul again on Jenna Day. 2 quick fouls for her going for the rebound. One made field goal this entire quarter here for South Putnam.
Well, they continue to drive it. They are getting to the line a little bit. But they could take a page out of the Cougar book and maybe start passing it back to the perimeter on some of these drives.
And Klein goes empty there. That takes. She is 1 for 4 at the line as the final seconds will tick away here in the first half. Nearly had a half-court shot that time.
That was on line. I didn't think she could get it that far.
From our baseline objective, to say the least, from our baseline vantage point, I should say, that looked on target, but it was just off. Either way, North Putnam goes on a big run in the second quarter, 23-14 at halftime here of the girls' matinee of the South Putnam-North Putnam doubleheader here on ISC.
Hey there, my name is Jake Query.
And I'm Derek Schultz.
And we are part of, actually, the entirety of, at least from an on-air standpoint, Query and Schultz on the ISC Sports Network. It's appropriately named. It's charitably award-winning. And Derek, now we venture into season number 5. Hard to believe.
5 of them. 5 of them. Can you believe it? 2 best buds talking Colts, Pacers, Indiana sports every Tuesday night, 7:30, ISC Sports Network, and on socials as well.
It is made possible, of course, by the people who watch and listen every single week. We are most appreciative. We look forward to season number 5.
Again?
Tortured by technology? Have no fear.
Endeavor is here with Speed Geeks. Our Speed Geeks are expert technicians ready to rescue you from technology troubles. Our experts are here to get and keep your Wi-Fi running properly. We'll even make sure all of your devices stay connected. Give us a call or visit weendeavor.com to see if you're in our service area. Endeavor Communications, technology for real people.
McCulling in time. Oh, no! It's good.
This one is
caught. There you go.
Wow, Dawson makes a great catch.
Spin, win, 3, bury it for Leland Walker.
Tie the game they do with the dunk by Malik Edmonds. What a play.
Oh, my goodness.
I feel a little momentum starting to fall Ellen's way.
Wrestler! Wrestler!
Whoa!
It's time to supercharge your internet with ridiculous speeds up to 1 gig from Endeavor. Get ready for high gear downloads that power buffer-free streaming, gaming, sharing, and surfing. And fire up all your devices at once with reliable speeds amplified by the latest Wi-Fi equipment. Get on the fast track to a powerful online experience. Contact Endeavor and supercharge your internet today.
Again?
Tortured by technology? Have no fear. Endeavor is here with Speed Geeks. Our Speed Geeks are expert technicians ready to rescue you from technology troubles. Our experts are here to get and keep your Wi-Fi running properly. We'll even make sure all of your devices stay connected. Give us a call or visit weendeavor.com to see if you're in our service area. Endeavor Communications, technology for real people.
Halftime here in Roachdale, home of the North Putnam Cougars here on the IHSAA Sports Network, as the Cougars leading the South Putnam Eagles 23-14 at halftime here of the girls matchup, the first of 2 ball games that we will bring you here on ISC as we bring you live coverage of the boys-girls doubleheader between these 2 schools. Alongside Coach Bill Fenlon, I'm Kurt Darling. Coach, at halftime here, of course, seeing some of these youngsters out here on the ball court here for the time being, you know, it's certainly indicative of how a lot of these schools invest in some feeder programs to build, hopefully, some future ball players here for these schools.
Well, you know, Indiana basketball, man, it starts at a pretty young age, and what's great about little communities like this is they get the kids involved at a young age. They get them out going to the high school games, and those high school kids are their heroes, and they can't wait to become players themselves. Looks like there's a little instruction going on out there. I'm not sure what kind of mess we're going to have.
Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a pickup
game
here.
A little bit of swarm ball out here.
Of course, it's all part of the growing pains of learning the game, to say the least. Of course, still, one thing in particular, though, that, of course, North Putnam in that first half certainly demonstrating a lot of knowledge of the game that they have had going into this one. They were down 9-6 at the end of quarter number 1, but, Coach, they outscore North Putnam 17-5 in that second quarter.
Well, I think they made some really good adjustments. They had some success driving it to the basket early, but they really weren't converting. And when Mackenzie Mason came into the game, they kind of stuck her in the high post and they played through her, and she was able to get the defense to contract and find her open teammates on the perimeter. She got a bucket herself in there and really kind of changed the whole flow of the game and what they were doing offensively. So it was a really good adjustment by Coach Windmiller at the quarter, and it really paid off for him.
Meanwhile, for South Putnam in particular, they had a really good start getting right to the rim, but second quarter, that went entirely away from them, and they're also not making foul shots.
Well, they're still getting to the rim, but they're not getting to the line enough, and when they're getting to the rim, they're not converting at a winning rate at all. So they've got to make those adjustments themselves. We talked about it earlier. I think the drives are great, but you got to be under control at the end of those drives so you can be a threat to not only score it, but pass it from there.
Of course, You having been a coach, a college coach here in this county for several years as well, when it comes to doubleheaders like this and rivalries like this, you talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast. How important are games like this to the community as these two schools go at each other?
Well, it's a big deal. These kids all know each other, right? Like they all go to the same places. They all go to Dairy Castle, right? They all I have two kids that played high school basketball in this county, right? On the girls' side and on the boys' side, and so I know firsthand that they know each other. They hang out. There's some bragging rights involved. It's a big deal every time the county schools play.
Indeed, it is. We'll take a quick timeout. Coming back with the second half here on ISC.
Brewer jams it home.
That ball wiggles in and into the back of the net.
A little fireworks in the first half. Throw it up for Tillman. Whoa, my goodness.
122-6-0 for Penn.
What a swim!
Six of them.
It's time to supercharge your internet with ridiculous speeds up to 1 gig from Endeavor. Get ready for high gear downloads that power buffer-free streaming, gaming, sharing, and surfing. And fire up all your devices at once with reliable speeds amplified by the latest Wi-Fi equipment. Get on the fast track to a powerful online experience. Contact Endeavor and supercharge your internet today.
Want lightning fast internet speeds? Choose Endeavor. Go from slow to whoa. From last to fast. And wait to great. Endeavor Communications is bringing the fastest internet speed in Indiana to your town. So you can download huge files in a flash, stream videos at blazing speeds, and game online faster than you thought possible. Think fast and contact Endeavor Communications today at join.weendeavor.com.
Let's take a look at some first half highlights here of this one. Certainly got things going well, as we talked about here before the break, for South Putnam really getting to the rim, but so was North Putnam.
Well, they originally North's strategy was to try to get the ball to Melanie Davis, who got a couple buckets but wasn't really that efficient around the basket. She got into foul trouble, and then all of a sudden Mackenzie Mason comes in the game, and they're playing through her, and the ball goes inside out, and that's when they really took over.
Still, though, South Putnam was able to get lots of scoring in the middle, but then you see the aforementioned Mason come in and feed shots like that from Rose Hayes.
There she is right there. There it is again, and really made a big difference in that second quarter with Davies on the bench.
And, of course, you also had J.C. Huffman coming off of the bench as well. She had 6 points in that second quarter alone. A small presence, but physical nonetheless.
She's a energizer bunny for this team and has a lot of experience. She's played quite a bit over the years, and you can just tell she's got pretty good poise and an ability to get the biscuit in the basket a little bit for a smaller player.
And there's a look at some of the boys players who will be suiting up here later on this evening.
They look really nervous.
Just a little bit.
They're petrified. Look at them.
Of course, you can catch that game right here on ISC Sports Network, iscsportsnetwork.com for all of your high school basketball desires here as we go into the second half of this one here on the ISC Sports Network. Bill Finland, Kurt Darling here with you. So, Coach, you talked about it a little bit. Quickly, a couple of things that you want to see from both teams going into the second half.
I think that South has got to, match offensively what North was able to do in that second quarter. How they're going to do it, I'm not really sure. Their drives, most of them, Kurt, have been coming on the baseline on this right side. I'd like to see them get the ball into the middle of the floor a little bit and see if they can create some offense that way, whether it's by passing it in there or by driving it in there. I think your options are a little bit better than taking it and tight roping along the baseline and trying to figure out how to score that way.
Coach, it's hard to believe that this is the last time it's going to be a conference game between these two for the time being, because North Putnam going to be joining the new Monon Athletic Conference next year, along with a couple Sagamore Conference schools as well.
Wow, they fiddle with that like crazy, don't they? Always.
Just a little bit. Of course, a fitting name at the Monon Athletic Conference, seeing as how the Monon Railroad goes right through the heart and soul of this particular county as Risler tries to get things going from behind the arc, and it goes out of bounds back here to North Putnam.
Monon Bell, man.
Absolutely. That between Wabash and, of course,
it's taking a permanent residence in Greencastle, though, here lately. My man Brett Dietz has done an unbelievable job with that football program, and they're looking at being in the third round of the NCAA playoffs tomorrow afternoon.
Of course, that game going to be happening tomorrow. That'll be a big game for everyone in Greencastle to be certainly watching as Haley Daigle comes up empty on that take, and the score remains the same here through the first minute of this second half. Risler lets it fly again and leaves that well short. And another empty possession for South Putnam.
Mackenzie Mason, they didn't wait to bring her off the bench this time. They started her to begin the half with all the success, and they put her right back in there at that free throw line where she had so much success in the first half.
So you have Haste as well as Davies in for North Putnam. They are each playing with 2 fouls and a traveling violation on the cut to the rim there by Daigle. Only 2 points for Haley Daigle so far tonight, but she has certainly had a big presence rebounding the ball on the other end. South Putnam, though, the faucet has been dry scoring for a while now, as you see a foul on a block from Rose Haste. That's now foul number 3 for the sharpshooter.
Well, they ran Drew Gardner off a triple stagger on the other side of the floor to get her the ball at the basket, and her defender got hung up a little bit and had no choice but to foul him. But they got to convert when they get themselves to that foul line.
So Gardner at the line. Coach, this is the 6th time that they've been to the line tonight. They have only made 4 foul shots.
That is not a good number. There we go. The lid's off.
In fact, each of 4 out of their last 5 takes, they've only made the back half of their foul shots. So in the corner this time with North Putnam, as Jenna Day tries to work the offense here with Mason. Back around and up top. And you certainly see a lot more respect from the South Putnam defense for Mason as she works the high post.
Yeah, they're really trying to keep it out of there.
Mason on the elbow again. Putting it on the floor here is Davies, and she hits. 6 points for Melanie Davies tonight.
Well, that time when Mason did catch it in there, everybody kind of stayed home. You know, they didn't suck down in there and let her beat him with the pass. They're going to say, hey, you gotta go ahead and score it if you're gonna hurt us.
Instead, Mason beats him with a block on the other end, but then double dribble is the call. Back over here by Hackelman, and another turnover here for North Putnam. Again, these two teams met earlier this season in the county tournament. 36-31 to the final to South Putnam that time, as Klein goes down the middle and comes up empty. And a foul going to be called here on Klein after the shot. A foul apiece here for the first quarter, for this third quarter for both teams. Daigle goes right underneath, leaves it, and from the block that time, it can't connect, does Hackelman. Klein at the top, off a screen. A little pick and roll action doesn't work out there for South Putnam. One-handed pass tipped up and taken back here by Mason. Daigle cutting to the rim, leaves it back outside. Daigle along the baseline on the reverse. Not enough leverage. Davies there to try and clean it up. And it's going to be touched out of bounds. They're going to say it's off North Putnam.
Might have been a little contact on that putback right there, but no call. Got to finish it.
Now you see Pistelli come back in here for South Putnam, and the same thing for J.C. Huffman for North Putnam. Mason staying on the floor here for the Cougars. And an empty pass coughed up and turned over by the Eagles.
Not sure what happened there.
So again, this being a conference game here in the Western Indiana Conference for the last time between these two ball clubs, as Daigle goes right to the rim and finally is able to cash in from the floor. 4 points for her tonight. Gardner working in the post, leaves it inside, gives it right back to Daigle, who pushes ahead to Davies, and Davies blocked by Gardner at the rim.
That was a tough pass and catch right there.
But just a couple errant passes here from both squads as we keep moving up and down the floor.
You know, I think that's the hardest thing to teach young players is just valuing the basketball. Both teams just a little loose with the ball.
Empty shot there from distance from Day, as it remains a 12-point advantage here for North Putnam. Emmerich scoops it up off the glass.
That's what I used to tell my guys, Kurt. It's like you think it's leather, but it's actually gold, right? And you got to take care of it like that.
Scooping it up is Daigle, taken by Emmerich, and Emmerich is fouled by Davies, and that is now 3 on Davies.
And that's the kind of foul that will drive you out of coaching right there. Right, you want to keep her on the floor, and she clearly just reaches in, and it's just a frustration kind of foul, and you just can't you can't have that. Just can't have it.
By the way, how many carats was the goal?
I don't know the
or rather, I should say how many pounds or how many kilograms I should say.
I don't know about that. I think how do they I don't know how do they measure gold? Is it by the carat? It's 24
I
carat.
might be thinking diamonds.
24, you're thinking diamonds.
Either way, just as precious.
But diamonds are like they're like 1 carat, quarter carat, whatever. Gold is 24 carats. That's like that's what the ball is. For the sake of this conversation, let's call it 24 karat gold.
Ten-point lead here for the Cougars as a timeout taken by North Putnam as they keep possession here. And right now here, Coach, with 2.5 minutes left to play in the third, both teams just a little stuck scoring the ball.
Well, you know, Kurt, in a game that's probably going to end up in the, high 30s, low 40s, it's time right now for South to get going. Like, they've got to figure out how they're going to score enough to be in this game at the end.
North Putnam certainly had that mindset in the second quarter, outscoring South Putnam 17-5 to take the lead. As now South feeling a little pressure, trying to work the ball up.
And North, they're not going to be able to put them away if they keep turning it over either. So
in essence, no shortage of opportunities here for the Eagles.
Yeah, both teams have to kind of figure out, all right, how do we get back in it, or how do we put them away? And the answer to both of those things is take better care of the basketball.
Long three, just off the mark there from Emmerich. Here comes Davies. facing a lot of defense there from South Putnam, and she draws the foul on Gardner.
Yeah, she was going she had her mind made up on that one, and she was able to draw contact. Good call by the official. Just got to get all the way back and get set if you want to have a chance to draw a charge right there. Just kind of running even with the basketball.
Davies' second trip to the foul line tonight. She makes her first foul shot. The previous time was a blank on an and one opportunity. Davies, the younger sister, of course, of Marin Davis, who averaged 8.5 points a ball game in her time with the Cougars a few years ago. Along the baseline, Emmerich. Here is Rissler. Goes to the right side. Runs into a wall. Has to get rid of it.
Those baseline drives by South have just not put enough pressure on the North defense. That time, that was a lane line drive, which is a little harder to deal with. The help's a little late, able to draw the foul. If they want to stay close, they're going to have to cash in from the free throw line.
Well, that's been the bulk of the scoring here for South Putnam, as Emmerich again misses the front end. But coach, it's certainly hard to keep pace when you're only making 2 field goals in 2 quarters, which is exactly the case right now here for South Putnam.
You better be awfully good defensively if you're going to do that.
And Emmerich misses both. A very tough night shooting here for South Putnam. An offensive rebound, though, here for the Eagles. Klein facing some pressure. Emmerich leaves it for Rissler. And back with Klein again. Klein loses the handle. Emmerich down the lane. Gets the redemption for her missed foul shots and gets the and one to boot.
And that's a middle drive, Kurt. Puts more pressure on the defense, and she's able to finish that over the contact. And maybe that's just what the doctor ordered for the Eagles here, and get them going a little bit.
Trying to cut it to within 10 points for the first time here this quarter. And Emmerich again can't convert. She is 0 for her last 3. And a foul coming up here on North Putnam. Well, tonight's game is proudly sponsored by Endeavor Communications, which doesn't provide ordinary internet service. Their blazing fast, high-speed, fiber-based service is a game changer. At weendeavor.com or call 1-800-922-6677. Endeavor Internet, your fiber connection, your victory. Couple quick fouls here on this end of the floor, as North Putnam tries to take advantage as we tick inside the final minute of the third. Again, trying to work with Davies, and she turns it over to Rissler. Emmerich tries to cut it inside to Klein, and it's touched out of bounds. They say it's off North Putnam.
They were looking for that. They isolated that wing player again, looking for that back cut that they got in the first half. Just a little too much space between passer and cutter right there to make that play.
Cutting inside is Emmerich. Emmerich now.
Middle drive, Kurt.
I'm sorry, that's actually Clara Pistelli getting her first bucket from the field tonight.
The Eagles have had some success with that middle drive.
But meanwhile, the baseline drive working well there for Davies. 10 points for Davies now, as we tick into the final 10 seconds. And Emmerich has to let it fly. It goes out of bounds, and that will be the end of quarter number 3. 10-point lead here for the Cougars going to the 4th. Back in a moment here on ISC.
Again?
Tortured by technology? Have no fear. Endeavor is here with Speed Geeks. Our Speed Geeks are expert technicians ready to rescue you from technology troubles. Our experts are here to get and keep your Wi-Fi running properly. We'll even make sure all of your devices stay connected. Give us a call or visit weendeavor.com to see if you're in our service area. Endeavor Communications, technology for real people.
It's time to supercharge your internet with ridiculous speeds up to 1 gig from Endeavor. Get ready for high gear downloads that power buffer-free streaming, gaming, sharing, and surfing. And fire up all your devices at once with reliable speeds amplified by the latest Wi-Fi equipment. Get on the fast track to a powerful online experience. Contact Endeavor and supercharge your internet today.
Final quarter of action here in the girls' game of the North Putnam-South Putnam doubleheader here on the ISC Sports Network alongside Bill Fenlon. I'm Kurt Darling, Coach. The Cougars just need to try and close things out, but Coach Brian Gardner there for South pleading with his players to at least get some sort of a run going here in the final 8 minutes.
Well, midway through the quarter, they started to have some success with the middle drive, and they're also getting to the foul line but not converting, right? So this would be a different game right now if they were able to take care of the free throw situation a little bit different. Whoa.
And a bad inbound there by North Putnam. South Putnam trying to take advantage, and an offensive foul going to be called here on Clara Pistelli, her first.
Well, the Cougars were a little late coming out of the quarter huddle, and the official put the ball on the floor and put it in play. So they scrambled, had to scramble to inbound it, ended up turning it over, and a good defensive play to draw the charge on the end of that. Could have really hurt them.
This is a South Putnam team a year older after only having one senior just on the team last year. Now they have a few more. But that one senior last year was Jocelyn Pilcher, who tore her ACL in the first game, ending her year. So it was a young team for South Putnam last year, trying to keep things moving this year. Cutting inside is Pistelli. Comes up empty, but an offensive rebound by Rissler, and a 3 ball doesn't go either there for Gardner. And a foul going to be called here on Pistelli, putting some pressure here. So Pistelli now with 2 quick fouls here in this 4th quarter.
Well, they have extended pressure all night long, so it's clear that that's something they want to do. They feel like their guards are pretty athletic and they can pressure the basketball. What they don't want to do is figure out how to put them on the free throw line.
Meanwhile, Davies taking a bit of a bump there from Klein, and it's turned over back here to South Putnam.
She was trying to get on that base, go for that baseline drive again, and was cut off really well by the defender. Put her in a tough situation. She ended up turning it over.
Well, Coach, the opportunities keep coming here for South Putnam.
They're there. It's there for the taking a little bit, and they're just not taking it.
Pistelli gets inside, splits the defenders, but they're going to call a traveling violation before the shot. So what would have been a bucket ends up as a turnover.
Looked pretty good. It was another middle drive, right? Like they're able to do some things, driving it down the lane line in the middle of the floor that they weren't able to do the entire first half. So hopefully they'll figure that out and kind of stick with it here down the stretch.
But we've talked about turnovers, Coach. Against Cloverdale, North Putnam, in fact, both teams, North Putnam and Cloverdale, had 19 turnovers combined in the first quarter before it was a hard-fought victory the rest of the way. But a big 3 there by Rose Haste to get it back to 13.
Rose is a little bit of a sniper.
Kind of comes and goes, but she now has 12 points, her 4th made 3 of the night.
And really, that's the difference in the game.
In fact, it was her shooting in the second quarter that sparked what was a 13-0 run, capping off a 17-5 second quarter for North Putnam, and that is really what got the separation to where you see now, and South Putnam just has not been able to reel the Cougars back in. Emmerich at the top. Pestelli lets it fly. Off target, gets her own rebound. And Emmerich will let it go from the wing, and she drains it. Big shot there from Emmerich to get it back to 10.
They're going to need a little bit of that here.
First made field goal of the second half here for South Putnam, as a timeout going to be called here by Coach Windmiller to talk things over for North Putnam.
Well, it looked like they wanted a trap on that possession. It had two really good traps set up and weren't able to turn them over, but did force the timeout call.
Well, this game is proudly sponsored by Endeavor Communications, which doesn't provide any old internet service, but their blazing fast, high-speed fiber-based service is a game changer. Don't settle for less. Switch to Endeavor for the winning play and connectivity. Visit weendeavor.com or call 1-800-922-6677. Endeavor Internet, your fiber connection, your victory. Construction night here for the South Putnam student section. Or rather, that is the North Putnam student section, I should say. The South Putnam student section on the other side. Certainly like the creativity from some of these students here as they go from game into game.
Yeah, it's always fun to see what they've got going. We got a couple of Hawaiian lays around necks. We got a Colts construction hat. We've got a bunch of what are those neon vests? That's something that you run if you're working on the road so you don't get run over kind of thing.
It's like a construction vest.
Yeah.
A safety vest.
Safety vest. They're ready.
They certainly are. Again, another game coming up after this one. The boys' iteration of North Putnam, South Putnam coming up here in just a little bit. Haste lets it go again and does not get the friendly roll like she did in the first half, and a foul on the rebound attempt goes back here to South Putnam.
Davies over the back that time.
And that is now 3 on Hayes on Davies.
I feel like that might be 4.
I thought it was 4 as well. Actually, no, they give it back to Davies here. And the scoreboard reads 0 fouls for Melanie Davis. Then there is the 4, so that is her 4th foul. As we get the correction there from the scorer's bench. Scooping it inside. Nice take there by Drew Gardner. Now if you're the Eagles, you just need a few more like that. 8-point lead here now for North Putnam, the closest that the game has been since the second quarter.
Well, they're taking some chances here with some doubles, trying to get a turnover, trying to get an extra possession. But what they don't want to do is get them into the bonus and let them beat you from the free throw line.
Again, at 5 fouls, it's an automatic 2-shot penalty for the remainder of the quarter.
Another trap, and Jenna Day played that ball off of her leg. And they're trapping everywhere right now.
Tough defense on the inbound here as it's corralled by Haste underneath and stolen away by Rissler. Rissler lets it go, and this time cannot get it to go that time. She's tried 5 3-pointers tonight and missed all of them. Haste up top here now to Mason. Mason, one dribble, back out to the side. And Day is off target again.
Another great pass by Mason. She's got great poise when she catches it in there. She's not going to speed herself up, and she's just kind of looking around, trying to figure out who's open. Done a great job with that tonight.
It's also in the face of some obvious adjustments defensively by South Putnam.
So her answer is take a little more time to find that open person.
Klein along the left side.
Lane line drives. They're really having some success with it, and we're down to a 6-point lead.
It is an 8-0 run here for South Putnam. As clunky as it may have been, it is working. With 4 minutes left to play here in the final quarter. Davies tries to break the run and is called for traveling. That is 3 straight empty possessions here for North Putnam.
Turnovers kill, man. Turnovers kill. They kill your momentum. They make you nervous. You know, there's just all kinds of bad things that come along with turning the basketball over.
So again, opportunity after opportunity presenting itself here to South Putnam as there's a cut inside. A 10-0 run here by Clara Pastelli.
Well, they cleared out that side again. That's their favorite play. They've gone to it 3 or 4 times.
Haste tries to break it. Off target. Rebound by Emmerich. And a traveling violation there by Emmerich as she took one too many steps getting that pass off.
Well, she went to try to pick up her dribble, fumbled it a little bit, and as a result, traveled.
Inbound to Daigle. Mason off the block. Nothing there. And Klein will bring it up the far sideline. 3 on the way for Pastelli. Too strong. Klein tries to keep it in bounds. And we come back the other way. Well, time is certainly of the essence here for North Putnam.
Well, now I don't think if you're South, you don't have to be in a big hurry, right? You've cut into it. Just keep doing what you're doing and turning them over.
And a timeout going to be called here by Coach Windmiller to talk things over.
I like that timeout call, Kurt. I think it was maybe a possession or two late, but good time to kind of regroup and make sure you're getting what you want on both ends of the floor.
Well, still South Putnam was down by as many as 13 points. They have clawed back to within 4 with just under 3 minutes to play here. And if you're Coach Windmiller, obviously, name of the game is just to keep them at arm's length here for the final 2 minutes 51.
Yeah, I think you want to figure out how you can play offense down here without turning the basketball over, right? So if South is going to continue to trap, then you've got to have a plan for that, right? You got to make them pay for that a little bit. Otherwise, why would they stop trapping, right? So you've got to deploy your players with space so they know when I get trapped, where am I going with it, right? What are my options? And then once the ball's out of the trap, you got to get it moved and at least one more pass. The teams can usually adjust and scramble to the first pass, but it's the second pass that can get you if against a trapping defense. So let's see how they handle it here if South elects to stay in that trap. Oops, yep, you need 5. Let's get 5 out there. There we go.
And South Putnam going to make a switch at the next dead ball, it appears, as they continue to apply the pressure here in the forecourt. Davies coughs it up, and it's going to be off of North Putnam. South Putnam basketball.
He just didn't have, I think Huffman's drive there was pretty good, but she drove it right on top of one of her own teammates.
That was an awfully close call right there.
Really close. It was
also right on top of the official.
It was right in front of us.
Two and a half minutes to play. Up top here with Emmerich. Klein on the dribble drive, just throws it up in traffic. Tipped around into the hands here of Jenna Day.
Well, that's the same set where they run the back cut out of it, and that time they just threw it to Klein and isolated her there up for the drive.
That is now 6 straight turnovers for North Putnam.
That can't feel good, right? And if you're a player, now all you're doing is worried about not turning it over, right? And that makes it even harder.
In the final 2 minutes, South Putnam certainly feeling a little pressure here now as they need to make up 4 points, but they turn the ball over themselves on the other end. Another quick substitution as Mia Wells back in here for South.
Coach Gardner did not like that call, right, and it was right in front of him right there. It had to be kind of bang bang because the ball was denied, looked like it went out of bounds, so it must have just been tipped by the Cougars.
Daigle loses the handle, taken by Emmerich, and she's fouled there by North Putnam. That'll be the 4th foul of the quarter here for the Cougars. It'll also be the 2nd on Huffman. So the next foul here committed by the Cougars results in free throws here for South Putnam.
Which is interesting because South's been the one that's been trapping and really kind of forcing the issue defensively, and they're sitting on 2 team fouls.
South has gotten to the line a lot tonight, but free throw shooting has been an issue. Cutting is Pistelli, scoops it in. 12-0 run here for South Putnam. North Putnam in a little bit of trouble here as they turn it over again. Empty possession after empty possession for the Cougars. And South Putnam, as we've talked about all game long, Coach, they're finally taking advantage of some of these opportunities.
They just do not have a good deployment against these traps. So typically, Kurt, you'd like that ball handler to think, okay, I can go cross court, I can go middle, and I can go down lane from where I'm at. I'm going to have 3 options. That time, the ball was trapped, and there was only one option, right? They had nobody down lane, and they had 2 people in the middle, which means there's also 2 defenders in the middle. So it's harder to throw it there. So you got to get the floor space, and you got to know where you're going to be able to throw the basketball.
Meanwhile, if you're Coach Gardner here, what are you telling your squad here with 1:05 left to play?
Well, you're telling them they can stay aggressive, right? So they can continue to trap because the Cougars don't have an answer for it, right? At this point. So I think that stay with the trap, and I would go back to that, either that back cut play or back to that curl into a middle drive that has been pretty successful for them on the offensive end. So we'll see. I think both of those things could maybe work to get them a bucket, because even though they've been rolling here, they're still down 2.
5 made field goals here in the quarter to just 1 for North Putnam.
And the reverse is true also. Even though the Cougars haven't been rolling, they're still up 2, and they need to play like it.
South Putnam has made a huge run here in the 4th quarter. 12-0 as we tick into the final 60 seconds. Pistelli gets it to Klein. Klein scoops it up. Tie ball game. Timeout called, or rather a foul, I should say, is going to be called here on North Putnam as well.
Middle drive. They've had success with it, and they're coming off that handoff, and the defense just doesn't handle it very well. They don't switch. The person guarding the ball just gets hung up on the handoff, and lane line drive all the way to the rim.
4 fouls now on Mackenzie Mason as she's the guilty party there. Pistelli will come out of the ball game here at the time being for the Eagles. But free throw shooting has been a concern today as Klein steps up for the end one, and she hits a huge free throw to give South Putnam the lead back for the first time since early in the first quarter. North Putnam has been empty on every possession each of their last 8 times down the floor. Davies driving in, a spin at the rim, gets the shot to fall, the and one to boot with it. Lead goes back to North Putnam.
Pretty good drive, and that time she, instead of getting trapped down on the baseline, she kind of spun it back into the middle, and that's a big-time play right there by her.
Well, Coach, with how this game was going in the middle 2 quarters, you wouldn't think that we're in this position, but we've got ourselves a ball game here over the last 29 minutes.
Well, that was a terrific run by South to get themselves back in the game, and that was a great play by Davies right there.
But Davies misses the end one. 29 seconds, I should say, as a little bit of time comes off the clock. But now South Putnam, you have a chance to extend a little bit here. Cutting inside, Klein can't handle it, goes out of bounds, and they're going to say it stays here with the Eagles.
Hard to see, but it looked like she might have been bumped a little bit there.
And a full timeout going to be taken here by Coach Windmiller to talk things over with the final 16 seconds left to play. Well, Coach, free throw shooting has, even though it's been kind of a secondary issue to talk about here this evening, it has nevertheless had a huge impact on this one. South Putnam would certainly have at least a 10-point lead right now if they were making free throws.
Yeah, you're right. They'd really be in the driver's seat if they were hitting at a decent clip from the foul line. But the reality is they didn't, and they still fought their way back into a position where they can take the lead right here.
They are 6 of 15 at the foul line here this evening, South Putnam. So that is certainly something to keep track of if you're Coach Gardner. And so in the final 16 seconds.
It gives you something to practice on Monday. You know?
Certainly you had those times when you were a coach with your players.
You know what? You really try, the free throw thing is a really mental deal, right? So my philosophy was I just, we shot them, but we never made a big deal out of whether we were making them or missing them, because you just can't overload guys' brains.
A big possession here for both squads as Pastelli with 10 seconds. Gardner lets it go, can't convert. Offensive rebound taken by South Putnam. Klein comes away with it.
Looks like a timeout got called.
Looks like Coach Gardner called a timeout. And so that is the call here. Coach Gardner called a timeout the moment that Danae Klein got that rebound, as they'll inbound the ball on the far side of the court here out of the break here.
So Kurt, right now you got to have your best side out 4.8 second play, whatever that happens to be. You got to pull it out. You got to pull it out. There's no reason to save it. I would think that we'll see Pastelli with the ball, and they need to give her a little bit of space. And if it's me, I'm going to try to get her going to the middle of the floor and take my chances.
Certainly this, though, attack the basket here as opposed to shooting from outside.
Well, I think you got to take whatever the best thing that happens, right? But I think in general, putting the onus on the officials by driving it is not the worst thing that you can do.
4.8 to work with here for the Eagles. Pastelli off the inbound, spins into the lane, scoops it up, can't convert, and that's it. The North Putnam Cougars survive a late run by South Putnam, and they win this one 36-35.
Wow.
Certainly an entertaining end to that one right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, from a coaching standpoint, it's like you're feeling good, you're rolling along, and then all of a sudden the wheels come off, And you know, a lot of times the players got to play, right? You don't really have an answer for your team keeps throwing the ball to the other team. But you know what? Davies made a play down here at the end when she needed to, and she had been having some of those turnover issues herself. And I know she couldn't have been feeling great about it, and she was able to make the winning play in the game.
Well, Coach, let's do this again here in about 20 minutes.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Let's play 2.
Your final score here in the girls' game of this North Putnam-South Putnam doubleheader, 36-35, North Putnam getting the job done over South Putnam. Stick with us here on ISC Sports Network. The boys coming up next right here on ISC.